Hey everyone, and welcome back to the EMT Spot's Blood Pressure Podcast. I'm Samuel Harrison.
And I'm Olivia Harper.
And today we're diving deep into something that might catch you off guard.
Yeah, definitely not your typical topic.
We're talking about rice protein powder.
Rice protein powder and blood pressure.
You might be thinking, what?
Exactly. What does that have to do with anything?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to be looking into today.
I mean, we all know high blood pressure is a big deal in the U.S.
Huge. It's like almost half of all adults.
The CDC says it's a major risk factor for heart disease.
And we're not just talking about super high blood pressure.
Yeah, even that slightly elevated kind can be risky over time.
Stage 1 hypertension, they call it.
So finding ways to manage it is super important.
And that's where this rice protein powder comes in.
Exactly.
So let's talk about rice protein powder. For those who don't know, it's often compared to whey protein.
Right, like that stuff people use for building muscle and recovering after workouts.
They look pretty similar, don't they?
Yeah, and studies actually show they both deliver comparable results for resistance training.
But what makes rice protein powder stand out?
Well, for starters, it's plant-based.
Which is perfect for vegans and vegetarians.
Absolutely. Plus, some people find it's easier on their stomach.
Especially those with food sensitivities.
Yep, it can be a good alternative.
Okay, but let's get down to brass tacks. How does rice protein powder potentially help with blood pressure?
So it has to do with its amino acid profile.
Amino acids.
Yeah, there's this specific peptide found in rice protein called LU-ARG-ALA, or LRA for short.
LRA, okay.
Think of LRA like a tiny key.
The key.
Yeah, and it fits perfectly into a lock on your blood vessels.
Interesting analogy.
When this key turns, it helps to relax those blood vessels.
Okay, I'm following.
And that relaxation can lead to a drop in blood pressure.
It sounds promising.
There's research to back this up, too. Researchers gave a rice bran protein supplement with LRA to folks with slightly elevated blood pressure.
That stage 1 hypertension we talked about?
Yeah, exactly. After about 12 weeks, they saw improvements in their readings.
So this LRA is really doing something.
It seems like it. And that's not all.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. Scientists are looking into ways to make rice protein even more powerful for blood pressure.
More powerful? How?
They're genetically modifying rice to enhance its anti-hypertensive properties.
Genetically modified rice. Whoa, hold on. What does that mean?
It's pretty cutting-edge stuff. In one study, researchers engineered rice to contain specific peptides known to relax blood vessels.
Wow.
They then took the protein from this modified rice and gave it to lab animals. They saw a decrease in the animal's blood pressure in just 2 hours.
2 hours? That's incredibly fast.
It is, and they estimated about half a tablespoon of this modified rice protein could have a similar effect on a 150-pound adult.
So we have this naturally occurring LRA peptide showing potential.
Yep.
And scientists are finding ways to amplify these effects through genetic modification.
They're pretty exciting.
This feels like a real breakthrough.
It definitely opens up new avenues for managing hypertension.
It's not the only study looking at this either.
Right.
Right.
There's another one where researchers focused on gamma-aminobutyric acid, or GABA.
GABA, isn't that the calming neurotransmitter?
That's the one. They enriched rice with GABA and saw improvements in blood pressure in rats.
Interesting. Especially in the mornings, apparently.
Yeah, so we need more research to see how this translates to humans, of course.
Well, of course.
But it adds to the evidence suggesting modifying rice for blood pressure benefits is worth pursuing.
It's amazing to think something as simple as rice could have such an impact.
You said it.
So we have this naturally occurring LRA,
Right.
and scientists are finding ways to boost its effects.
It's remarkable.
It really is. It could potentially change how we think about managing hypertension.
Absolutely. Yeah, it has the potential to change things.
And we should remember, right? Rice protein powder, it's not just about blood pressure.
Definitely not. It's a great protein source, period,
Especially
for plant-based diets.
It's exactly. More and more people are going vegan or vegetarian these days.
And finding good protein sources, it can be tough.
It can be. So rice protein powder, it's a really good alternative.
Way better than whey protein, which comes from dairy. And it compares really well to other plant-based options like soy.
I've actually heard from people who have a hard time digesting soy.
Oh, yeah, it happens. So having rice protein as another option, it's huge.
Absolutely. And it's so versatile.
It really is. Smoothies, yogurt, oatmeal.
You can bake with it.
So many ways to use it.
Okay, so say someone's listening to this and thinking, okay, rice protein powder, I'm interested.
Yeah.
What would you tell them? Like, how much should they take?
That's the million-dollar question. And I always have to say, everyone's different. What works for one person might not work for another.
We're not giving medical advice here, folks.
Definitely talk to your doctor or a dietitian to see what's right for you.
Always good advice.
But if we think back to that study with the genetically modified rice protein, remember, they estimated about half a tablespoon could have an effect on a 150-pound adult.
Right.
So it doesn't seem like you need a ton to maybe see some benefits.
That's good to hear. It's not like you have to go crazy.
Nope. Small changes over time can make a big difference.
And rice protein powder, it's just one part of managing blood pressure.
Exactly. It's not a magic solution.
Right. It's about a healthy lifestyle.
Diet, exercise, managing stress.
All those things matter for your heart.
It's about supporting your well-being.
And rice protein powder could be a useful tool.
For sure.
So we've talked about the potential benefits for blood pressure.
Yep.
How versatile it is as a protein source, and the importance of figuring out what's right for you individually.
Exactly.
And we can't forget that this is just the beginning of rice protein research.
There's still so much to learn.
Who knows what else we'll discover?
It's exciting to think about.
It is. Well, I think we've given everyone plenty to think about today,
Lots to consider.
and maybe even experiment with in their own health journey.
Absolutely.
This has been pretty eye-opening, Olivia. I gotta say, I thought rice protein powder was just for, gym buffs and athletes.
I know, right? It's crazy how something so simple can have such a big impact on our health.
And we're just scratching the surface here.
That's what makes these deep dives so cool.
There's always something new to learn.
It's empowering, you
Yeah.
know? Like, we can actually take control of our health.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes the answers are right there in front of us.
Literally on the grocery store shelves.
It just goes to show you never stop learning.
And that the simplest things can make the biggest difference.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, Olivia, it's been a pleasure, as always, unraveling these mysteries with you.
Likewise, Samuel. Always a great conversation.
And of course, a huge thank you to all our listeners for joining us on this deep dive into rice protein powder and blood pressure. We hope you found it informative.
And maybe even inspiring.
I'm Samuel Harrison.
And I'm Olivia Harper.
And you've been listening to the EMTSpot's Blood Pressure Podcast. We're here to help you take control of your heart health, one episode at a time.
Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our future deep dives.
And hit that like button, leave us a comment, and share this with anyone who might find it useful.
Until next time, stay curious and keep those blood vessels happy.